Okay. Welcome to the Tuesday, January 18th meeting of the Mayor and Council of the City of Roswell. I'd like to invite Roswell City Dance Group to come forward and lead us in the pledge. If we'd all stand and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And while we have the Roswell City Dance Group with us, tell us a little about your group and who we have here tonight.
We have the graduating seniors. I'm Shannon Childers. I'm the director of Roswell City Dance, and I brought with me the graduating seniors of the class of 2011. These seniors are with me to cordially invite you to join us for our winter concert. Every year we put an annual winter repertory concert on at the Roswell Cultural Arts Center, and this year it's our 15th anniversary, so it's a very special anniversary for us, special show. It's February 4th and 5th. February 4th we're having a gala to celebrate our 15th anniversary, and we invite all of Mayor and Council to join us for that event. And just to commemorate the event, we have a special gift that we'd like to give the Mayor. Since he loves bow ties so much, we have rhinestoned a bow tie for him to wear to the show.
Why, thank you very much. I will be there, and I will wear this. Let's open it up so everybody can see what a wonderful bow tie this is going to be. And now I understand that the public's invited to these performances, and I'd love to see you there. And I'll be wearing this bow tie that night. It's beautiful. You know, I'm going to make an exception for this bow tie. It is a clip-on.
Oh, is it? No, right.
It is a clip-on.
Yes.
And I normally do not wear clip-ons, but for Roswell City Dance, I'll even wear a clip-on with rhinestones. I think Roswell City Dance has excellent programs. What are the age groups that are represented there?
7 to 18.
7 to 18. Professional quality dancers. But what struck me, in addition to the skill of the dancers and the artistic qualities, was sort of like this bow tie. Their costumes are incredible. So I encourage everyone to come to see and hear and watch Roswell City Dance on the 14th and 15th of November. 4th and 5th. 4th and 5th of November.
4th and 5th of February.
4th and 5th of February.
And tickets are available at the box office at the Cultural Arts Center. So thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for coming tonight. I'd also like to invite our Boy Scout to come forward. We usually make them lead us in the pledge, but at least I'm going to make him stand up and introduce himself and tell us why he's here tonight.
I'm Nate Jordan with Boy Scout Troop 1134, and I'm here because it's a requirement for 2 merit badges that I have to do for my Eagle Scout project. It's one of the requirements is to come and take notes about city council or a school board meeting, so that is why I'm here.
Well, I'm glad you're here for your Eagle, to moving forward to Eagle, and I encourage you to how close are you to being an Eagle Scout?
I'm almost done with my write-up part, and I have about 2.5 weeks to
actually. So you saved the city council the toughest part for last.
Yeah.
Good to have you here tonight. Thank you for coming. And this time I would like our Judge Maurice Hilliard to come forward and introduce us to our new solicitor.
Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, may I present Ms. Krista Young, our new Roswell's 4th city solicitor in its history. And all of you know, the other 3, I was the first and worst. This is the best.
Thank you, Judge.
We have an oath. Was that to swear her in, or have I've
Yes,
already,
sir. This is.
I have already done it, but do you have the oath of office for her?
Do we have no, we don't. Do we have anything?
Well, no, sir. However, I could go
Hold
get
up
that.
your right hand, please, ma'am, and repeat after me. I,
Judge, I believe it's coming.
would you,
Thank you, Doug. Betsy.
where have you been? Could we get Franklin to come down here? Franklin, bring them if you want to.
Bring your
them on.
kids. Bring your kids.
Okay.
Oh yes, bring your kids. Yeah, we're sure.
And this is the Young family. And this is a young family. They have 3 children, all under 3.
Thank you.
And Krista's cousin Hillary has been with us all day today. She works for the police department in Los Angeles, California. And she's glad she's not there right now with what's going on out there. Krista,
Yes, sir.
hold up your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Krista Young,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and of the state of Georgia,
and of the state of Georgia,
and that I will, in all respects,
and that I will, in all respects,
observe the provisions
observe the provisions
of the Charter and ordinances of the City of Roswell,
of the Charter and the ordinances of the City of Roswell,
and I will well and truly perform the duties
and I will well and truly perform the duties
of the office of Solicitor,
of the office of Solicitor,
and that I will, to the utmost of my skill and ability,
and that I will, to the utmost of my skill and ability,
endeavor to promote
endeavor to promote
the interest and property
the interest and property
of said city
of said city,
without fear, favor, or affection.
without fear, favor, or affection.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
she's
sir.
legal because we did that privately about 2 weeks ago because she is on the job already.
We appreciate that. Krista, welcome to the City of Roswell. We would be honored to introduce your children to us.
Thank you. I'd be happy to. This? Oh, you want me to take the microphone? Okay. This is our oldest daughter. This is Kenan. And she just turned 3 on Saturday. Would you like to say hello? Okay. And these are our twins, Jackson and Caroline. We tried for 1 and we got 2. So they are a blessing and a gift. And Jackson is here in the back, and this is Caroline in the front.
They're
And they
welcome
just
to
turned
Roswell
1.
also. Good
I'm
to have
sorry?
you. Good to have you on board, and we'll welcome the whole family.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm terrible. This is our nanny. No, this is my husband, Franklin. And we have a beautiful family, and we're grateful for this opportunity, so thank you all very much.
Thank you for coming to Roswell.
Thank you.
We just announcing. Next, I would like to welcome Marley Press to the podium. Marley? Marley has been with the city, we were talking about it, 3 months longer than I have. She's my senior on the in the city. She has seniority. She has had one of the more challenging jobs and exciting jobs in the city of Roswell for most of that. Is that for the entire time period?
No, for 10 and a half years.
For 10 and a half years. She has been the assistant to the council, and she has done a great job. And with that, I'm going to open it up for the council to for any words for Marley that they have to give to Marley. Any council members wish to? Councilmember Orland.
I guess I was the only one that was here when you started on the council. You've done a great job for us. I would love to vote no on this appointment so you'd stay with us, but it's better for you. It's better for the city. You're going to do a great job as our city clerk, and good luck and keep helping us out.
The good news is it's not going to require a vote. She has been appointed, and we're just recognizing her. Councilmember Price.
Having not been here all that long, I feel like I've known Marley forever in the time that she has helped out with the things that I've asked her to do in the last year, and she is always one step ahead of me. If I'm thinking about something, suddenly she appears and it happens. So you've been great. We appreciate everything you do, and we know we're not going to give you away too far, that you'll be just around the corner, and we look forward to seeing your very happy, smiling face many years to come. Thank you.
Councilmember Wynn.
Marley, I'm like Jerry, if I could vote for this. But I think it's a great opportunity for you, and I think it's a great thing for the city to be able to have somebody of your caliber that's going to be our city clerk. You have been there for me since day one. I can sit in my office and you can hear me say some choice words, and you're right in there finding what's going on. And you have been just really just a great person to know and a great person to work with, and I wish you the best, and I know you're going to be a great city clerk. So congratulations on your promotion, but it's condolences to us for losing you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Marley, you're awesome. You've done a great job for us, and we will be sad to see you go, but fortunately you're just going downstairs. So we know this is a great move for you. It's a great move for the city. So congratulations and best of luck. If there's anything we can do, you know where to find us. Thanks.
Marley, I can't thank you enough for being so welcoming, and I've always been impressed that with council members that sometimes couldn't agree on the time, they all have universally agreed that you've been a wonderful asset, and that is saying something in and of itself. Thank you for everything, and you're not going very far. I don't think you can get away from us. Thanks so much.
Our attorney has advised us that we need a motion and a second and a vote to confirm our nomination. Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilman Orleans. Is there a second?
I knew I could vote on this.
Second by Councilmember Wynn. All in favor, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. You're appointed.
Wait a minute, I want to recount here.
For the record, Councilman Eichelhart is absent with an excuse tonight. Thank you, Marley, for staying with us. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is motion to approve the consent agenda by Councilmember Wynn? Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Diamond. Anyone in the council have any questions regarding the consent agenda? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. This time I'll call upon, we've got a mayor's report. We have some winners here tonight. Every year we hold a holiday decorating contest, and these folks help make Roswell a more beautiful place and light up our city. And with that, I'd like to recognize the winners, and after we recognize them, those who are present tonight, we have a very modest sum of money to award you, but we appreciate your participating. Did we take photographs of these this time? Usually we put them up on our website. I don't know if we did that or not. We didn't. Next time we need to do that. I hope they took photographs. All right, residential winners are Al and Vicki Hopper, first place, Al and Vicki Hopper. Second place on Windfair Circle, Carolyn O'Brien. And third place, 9940 Coleman Road, Carol Gaston. Are any of those winners here tonight? Alan Vicki Hopper, Carol O'Brien, or Carol Gaston? Well, we want to thank them for making our neighborhoods more attractive. For our businesses, third place was the Chandlery. That's at 950 Canton Street. Sally Johnson, she puts on the sort of organizes a live after five for us. Second place, Great Oaks, one of our historic homes, was the former Presbyterian Manse. And first place, Norm Shirley with Commonwealth Financial at 1033 Canton Street. That is the Stone House on Canton Street. So we want to thank all of them for participating. For subdivisions, third place was Northcliffe Trace, second place was Willow Springs, and first place was Sentinel on the River. Do we have any of their representatives here tonight? Well, we will be mailing all of those folks checks for honorable mentions. We have residential at 125 Farm Circle, business Atlanta Union Mission Thrift Store. If you've got anything to clothes or old furniture to give away, they recycle them. And for subdivisions, Wildwood Springs, we want to thank all of those people. And we want to thank Georgia Power, who donated $250 for cash prizes, which we'll be sending out these checks. So I want to thank all those folks for participating in the holiday decorating contest. And now I will get down to business. I'd like to call upon Councilmember Jerry Orland's liaison to the Administration and Finance Department.
Thank you. Tonight we have approval of a resolution to establish policies and administrative fees for film and photography projects within the City of Roswell. And this is being presented by Julie Breckville.
Good evening. The resolution before you sets the fees for permits for filmmaking in the City of Roswell at $250 and a $100 annual fee for professional photographers within the City of Roswell. Also on the back end of this, we have streamlined our processes for applying for permits to make it easier for everyone. And all of that information will be online as soon as we move forward with this tonight. So if you have any questions.
Do we have, yes, Councilman Orleans.
Julie, I just want to clarify, the $100 annual fee does say annual fee. The $250, is that per shoot coming in?
Yes,
or?
per shoot. And usually when we have filmmakers come into the city, it's a one-time deal, a one-time shoot, and usually they're here for several days, and so that is much in line with our surrounding communities on what they charge per day. For example, Decatur charges $100 per day for their shoots, for their film shoots.
I just want to clarify on how that was
Yes.
set up.
And
Thank
the
you.
photo permit is also like a one-time $100 fee right now. According to the resolution, they would have to pay a $50 fee every time they scheduled a photo shoot on one of our properties. So we feel that's more in line as well.
Councilmember Price.
Do we have, you may not have the numbers, but if someone does, currently, if there's somebody who does repeated still shoots, if they, is this a bargain now for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of paying $50 every time they take someone to get a portrait at, say, the Barrington Hall, they would pay $100 for the year. So for some photographers who do a lot of shooting in Roswell, it's going to be much less expensive for them.
So we're going to lose money then?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, no, but because what happens is a lot of folks aren't really aware, and they're becoming more aware that we have this requirement. We've started to post signs at the historic properties to tell professional photographers that they need to have a permit to shoot there, where before we didn't have those signs up. So we have seen an increase in the last several months in the number of permits applied for, as opposed to the 8 years I've been here before that.
Is it possible, though, that with that one fee that we may suddenly attract a lot of people who would come repeatedly, you know? That
From what I see, we're getting photographers that we've always had that weren't aware of the fee, or the ones that did would come and get the permit fee, and you know, they would come several times a year or more, depending on how many shoots they had, and then pass that on, of course, to their customers.
Okay. I suppose if it becomes a problem, we can deal with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember DiPolito.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Breckville, I just wanted to clarify that the resolution we're voting on does not apply for personal or non-commercial purposes.
Right. It does not apply to students either. We get some Kennesaw State students that will come to do photography for a class, and it does not pertain to them either. So if it's someone who makes a living or has a side business taking photos, and they're bringing portraits and things like that, commercial use, then they have to pay the permit fee.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? If you'll come forward, please. Yes, sir.
Is this, my name is Forrest Buchanan. I live at 225 Nestor Court, City of Roswell. Does this cover Google street scenes?
I'm not sure what that...
Google goes around with a truck, and they take photographs of every house down street scenes. They call it street scenes.
These permits are specific to our properties, so that would be the parks, our historic homes, the covered bridge, those areas that we have a lot of photographers use as a set for their photo shoots.
Yes, come forward, please.
Thank you. I'm Janet Russell. I live at 260 Willow Springs Drive here in Roswell. When I heard about this, the fee to take pictures in front of historic houses, first of all, I've lived here a long, long time. 38 years this month. I moved here in an ice storm. I was surprised that we even charged anybody. But I really have to speak up about this because what business do we have charging anybody to take a picture outside when it's a public space? Julie just said we charge to take pictures at our parks. Is that true?
If it's
what right do we have? That is a public space. Jerry, you built that covered bridge for the specific purpose, you said, and I remember years ago that would be a romantic place for people to propose. Why would you charge anybody?
We're not charged to propose.
No, I know. Well, you pay dearly afterward, that's for sure. About 3 years ago, I did a real informal poll of this council. Some of you weren't on it. But I asked how many of you had ever heard of Trader Joe's. And at that time, not one person on the council ever heard of Trader Joe's. And I brought up the fact that I had been in Tucson 2 years before that and found out that Trader Joe's was planning to move to Roswell. And I encouraged the City Community Development Office director at the time, Kathy Fields, to go after it, to romance Trader Joe's and get the first one here. And she never did anything, and she acknowledged that in council. She had sat on her butt and done nothing. 2 years later, I came before you and said, who knows what Trader Joe's is? And nobody still knew. But Marietta and Sandy Springs were getting one. 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call from the mayor's office, whoever your assistant was at the time, and she said, great news, Janet, we're getting a Trader Joe's. I'd like to think that I lit the fire under somebody's very dormant you-know-what so that we would get a Trader Joe's. The only reason I say that is because I'd like to do an informal poll now. How many of you ever heard of social networking? Any of you? Just a little quick show of hands, besides the movie.
The city is actually doing a seminar on social networking.
I'd just like to know on a personal level, since nobody knew what Trader Joe's was, how many know what social networking is? How many participate in Facebook? Jerry, I know you do. All of you, huh? I do. It's how I keep track of my daughters who live far away. The reason I bring that up is these social networking sites are changing the way we distribute information. And when you get a bride who puts her pictures on Facebook, and I guess they just said 500 million people now participate in Facebook around the world. Why would you charge a photographer to come and take pictures of your city so that you could get posted on Facebook around the world for free? This city has not much going for it right now, folks, except those 3 historic houses and our pretty parks. Johns Creek is getting ThyssenKrupp, 500 jobs. Alpharetta is getting 3 new companies, 1,000 jobs. What did Roswell get? Zippity-doo-dah. We have 3 historic houses and we want to charge you, and we want to restrict your access to them. I read in the Roswell Neighbor that children actually get unruly and disturb people who are taking tours of our historic houses. Well, last time I checked, they were not mausoleums. They are supposed to be places where people actually lived and had kids. You can't get kids to be interested in historical houses if you tell them they can't go near them. Now, I didn't say go in them, but no child should be in the house unless they paid an admission. So I have to tell you, I'm really, really, really disappointed that, one, we even charge. I can understand guidelines, but to tell people that you can't go in a public space and take a picture outside is, to me, offensive. And to me, it's absolutely stupid. You people shoot yourself in the foot every time. You didn't know what Trader Joe's was, and I'll bet you never thought about the Facebook value of having your city all over the world for free. I read in the paper that somewhere you want to restrict the use of the Roswell logo in official pictures, like it's a copyright. That's just plain stupid, folks. Stupid, with a capital S. Stupid. Everybody, Jerry, I hear you want to lay people off. You're cutting budgets. You're doing this, you're doing that. But I bet you hire a consultant to figure out why visitors drop in Roswell. When you're stupid. It's free, folks. It's free. I'm just telling you, like I told you 5 years ago about Trader Joe's. I'm a smart woman who has a vision of the future. I know what's coming because I happen to actually leave town. I crossed the Chattahoochee. God, there is life. I get on airplanes and see what the trends are all over the world. I'm going to leave you with this thought. You cannot drive this city into the future if you keep looking in the rearview mirror.
Who else would like to speak? Yes, come forward, please.
My name is Sandy Passman. I live at 435 Stonebridge Drive, and some of you may know and others may not. I was the weekend staff person at Barrington Hall for 4 years and also their volunteer coordinator. And when I saw this in the paper, I want to say that I was extremely, extremely happy about it. Not so much the money part of it, but I'm hoping that in addition to the money part of it, policies are developed. There were terrible things going on there with the photography, and I really believe that it is a liability to this city. I think that maybe no money be charged, but they be required to provide information saying that they have insurance and that the city of Roswell is an additional insured. Some of the things that I saw that could be liability issues were propping babies on the windowsill of the ice house and in the bird bath, children jumping on the well cover, having children banging on the window glass. I'm happy to have them inside of those houses, and I agree with Janet, we need to do whatever we can to get them there, but they weren't there to see the inside of the house, and all they were really doing was destroying property. They cut flowers for their photographs off the property instead of bringing their own. They would toss stones in the yard, fill up the parking lot with their cars, and then be indignant if you asked them to please move them so that the tour people could use the small lot. They would drag porch furniture wherever they wanted out into the front yard. Some of it was falling apart because it had been drugged so many times. There were streaks across the front porch from where they had drug it. On almost every weekend, I was out there looking for the door sign, the rug that went in front of the door, taking porch furniture from the front yard and bringing it up and rearranging it on the porch. They were there for their purposes, and they didn't care about the city's property. In addition, they were very disruptive of the tours that were going on, talking loudly so that you could barely hear inside in a lot of cases, children running on the porch. They would leave their piles of clothing, photography equipment, set things wherever they felt like dropping them. I had one woman completely upset with us one day. We were having an outdoor event, and she was mad with us because that was where she wanted to do her shoot and thought we should move. I don't know so much about the money, but I do think that policies need to be developed quickly so that some of what I saw written up in the paper stops. I left 2 years ago because I was told I didn't have a voice about this. And Mayor, you know, I left there after saying I quit and went straight to your office to talk to you about it. In December, I had a conversation with Kay about it by telephone. So y'all know that this was a big concern to me. In addition, I looked online quickly today and I did not see it, but there was one particular photographer who posted a lot of her pictures online on her website, and there were adorable things with our properties clearly visible, naked babies, women having their pregnant bellies taken on the porch in broad daylight, which I think is kind of inappropriate during tour hours. Maybe at 7 o'clock when many people aren't around, but if people are coming up for a tour, I don't think that's the kind of thing that they should be seeing. So that's my 2 cents worth on the topic. Like I said, I don't care about charging the money, but I do think you should be asking them for your name being listed as an additional insured, and I also think that policies need to be developed before something else happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Breckville, do we have any policies that apply to taking photographs on city property?
Yes, I met with Morgan Timmis, and we came up with a number of policies specifically for the historic homes after the committee meeting we had last time. We were directed to do that. So there are a set of guidelines, general guidelines for photography within the City of Roswell properties, and then there are another set of guidelines for the homes. So, and all 3 of the curators helped develop those guidelines.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Any further comments before we take a vote? Councilmember Price.
Yes, my concern that I've heard from people in the community is that if they tried to access some of the public properties, that oftentimes they were pushed aside by photographers and that they weren't able to, for instance, cross over the covered bridge, and that they became more of a nuisance than anything else. So I think I agree that proper policies need to be instituted so that people are still allowed to enjoy the parks and properties if we are encouraging possibly more people to utilize our lovely backdrops, that we make sure that they don't become a nuisance.
Mrs. Breckville, do we have is part of that policy that if we find a photographer habitually violating our policies that we revoke their privileges?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions before we entertain a vote? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. We don't have a motion?
No, sir.
Didn't we have a motion?
No, sir.
All right. We did have a motion. There was a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just have one question.
Yes, Councilmember Wynn.
The revised one that's on our dais, that's the one that we're voting on, am I correct? Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Councilmember DiPolito.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I think Ms. Russell has a good point that to some extent we have some free advertising here. So I don't want the fee to be a burden on anybody, but at the same time we have administrative costs of issuing a permit. So just want to make sure that we're comfortable that the costs associated with the permit are reasonable and we're not charging too much or, that we're just covering staff time and so forth. Is that accurate, Ms. Breckville?
Yes, it is. There's my office right now processes the permits, and once this moves forward, it will be done through community development. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Diamond.
Sorry to keep having you hopping down. It seems like in the discussions that we had, there was also a mechanism for a waiver if we felt like it was appropriate that the mayor does the waiver, or how did that end up? Do we know?
I think that came through if you were not a professional photographer, if you were a student, and we addressed that.
Okay, so that was a separate thing.
Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Price.
Excuse me, I would have favored a deferral until such time as the policies, for this would be presented to us. And also, having been in the Department of Community Development before, and now it seems to have migrated into administration, I'm going to vote against this.
The policies are not being voted on. We can bring those forward back for a vote if the council feels appropriate. All we're voting on right now is the fee. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. That's Councilmember Orleans, Wynn, DiPolito, and Diamond. All opposed? Councilmember. Okay, that's unanimous. In favor, and I would, Julie, if you could bring those policy back to talk to me about who it's assigned to. I need to sort of make sure it's in the right place, and we'll get it to the right liaison and get it back to committee and get it back to council. Thank you. This time we'll call upon Councilmember Betty Price, liaison to community development, to call the community development agenda.
The first item is CU 10-05, Zion Missionary Baptist Church of Roswell, Inc., 944 Myrtle Street, land lot 425. This was deferred from December, and Brad Townsend will present. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a conditional use for the Zion Missionary Baptist Church. As part of the use, they are required to have a variance to the district dealing with the existing home. The proposed use of the property is an approximate 1,300 square foot residence that the church proposes for small group events for their youth. They'll have existing parking at the church as well as parking on the existing sidewalk. This was reviewed at the last council meeting for the applicant to just have a meeting with the adjoining neighbor to the south. That meeting has taken place. Both of those parties are here this evening, and they will discuss their issues. Staff recommended denial of this application. The Planning Commission reviewed the application, also recommended denial. If council chooses to approve the application, we have 3 recommended conditions dealing with the application. In summary, staff would recommend denial. Planning Commission recommended denial. If you have any other questions.
Does the council have any questions? Councilman Orleans.
Just to clarify, the Planning Commission denial was because of a 3-3 tie vote?
That's correct.
So that automatically made it a denial?
That's
because
correct.
It was a tie vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? This time we'll hear from the applicant. And Reverend, if you could begin, after you give us your name and address, if you could begin with your understanding of where the parties are today and then your position.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Frank Lewis. I reside at 540 Selwyn Drive in Roswell. I pastor Zion Missionary Baptist Church located at 888 Zion Circle in Roswell, Georgia. I met with the neighbor, the Alberys, a few days ago. We have decided that we will forego this application, and we will make a use on some other place. That the existing property on Myrtle Street, we will use that within the boundaries of the zoning that's currently in. So
you're withdrawing your application?
I'm not withdrawing my application. We are foregoing this request.
Or is there, if staff could interpret this for me, do they need a variance if they're
using that?
Do they need a?
No, they don't need a variance. The only variance that they needed was to use the house as a conditional use.
So even though they're not withdrawing their application, they don't. See, the reason I'm confused, Reverend, if you're going to be using it, are you still asking for the variance? Even though
we're not
you don't
asking
need
for the variance. We will use the property as a residential property.
So you don't need the variance?
We don't need variance.
Are you still asking for the variance, even though you don't need it?
No, sir.
So that's the equivalent is withdrawing the application for variance.
That's fine.
The complete application for the use, to use it as a youth center, as well as the variance.
Well, let's make sure the Reverend understands.
He wants to use the building as a house.
But he needs no variance. He needs nothing
No, he
from
doesn't.
this council.
I
to
need
do that.
nothing. I need nothing to use the property as a house.
Right.
Because
So there's no need to move forward with this application for variance.
Correct.
Are you comfortable with that, Reverend?
we will make do.
All right.
There are too many encumbrances put upon this request, a fence and other things, lighting and all that kind of thing that we could not have, but a fence is needed, so that we can be good neighbors in this community.
Well, is there any reason to continue with the hearing on this subject?
No, sir.
Reverend, thank you for your efforts to work this out with your neighbor. Does the neighbor wish to be heard? I think that this has been resolved. Reverend, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you all for taking the
being
time.
a good neighbor.
You all have a good day.
Yes, sir.
All right.
The next item, CU 100-06, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. CU 10-06, Kings Court Chapel, southeast corner of Willio Road and Highway 120, has requested deferral, so I would make that motion to defer until February 14th, 2011.
We have a motion to defer. Do we have a second? Second. Is there anyone here tonight who came to be heard on the King's Chapel, southeast corner of Willio Road and Highway petition? Is anyone here on that petition tonight? If you are, you have an opportunity to be heard. You will have another opportunity to be heard when this item is heard again on February 14th if this motion passes. Well, that'll conclude our public hearing for the initial motion. We have a motion to defer and a second. Any further discussion by council? Councilmember Price.
Did Mr. Townsend have something he wanted to add?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
The next item is approval of natural area conservation easement. Alice Wakefield, the director of the department, will present that.
Okay. Yes, this easement was provided by the developer to offset the water quality requirements as established in the post-development stormwater management ordinance. The easement is located at 11261 Alpharetta Highway on property where the Sharpshooter facility is currently located. This matter was brought before the committee on December the 22nd, at which time a request was made to an inquiry for a trail easement located through this easement. Staff went back to the property owner, and the property owner is not willing to provide that trail easement given the nature of the facility. In addition, we talked to the environmental engineer in the Public Works Department along with the city engineer, and they both agreed that a trail at this side of the stream would not be feasible. It would be more appropriate on the other side of the stream. With that said, staff's recommendation is approval of this easement.
Does the council have any questions? Thank you. Does anyone in the audience wish to be heard on this matter? Do we have a motion?
Yes, move to approve the natural area conservation easement.
A motion by Councilmember Price for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Wynn. Any further discussion by council? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. This time I'll call upon Councilmember Becky Wynn, liaison to the Environmental Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Approval to amend Article 24.5, Water and Sewer of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell. This will be the second reading. Mr. Mooring.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We reviewed this at the previous meeting. These are changes to our water and sewer ordinance that have been directed by Georgia EPD, and we're required by our permit to comply with them and by our participation with the Metropolitan North Georgia Water Planning District. We recommend its approval. If you have questions, I'll be happy to provide some basic details of what this will do.
Does the council have any questions? Councilmember Price.
Is there anything in this ordinance that is any more onerous than the state requires?
No, ma'am. They are strictly following the state requirements.
Thank you.
Mr. Davidson, if you'd read the ordinance, please.
Thank you. This is an ordinance amending Article 24.5, Water and Sewer, to add state-mandated water restriction provisions and provisions related to private decentralized wastewater systems. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Council of the City of Roswell, pursuant to their authority, do adopt the following ordinance. Article 24.5, Water and Sewer of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell is hereby amended by adding the following sections, the text of which is incorporated herein by reference, and if approved, this will be the second reading.
Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Wynn. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Diamond. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Any further discussion by council? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Lee Fleck, Martin's Landing. I presume that this, what you're talking about, the permit is in relationship to only the city water, the portions of the city that the city water supplies water. Okay. And the only other thing in reading this is the wording. I know what the intent is, but the wording is, I think, is really poor on this, on right to curtail water use during emergency conditions. Section C, restrictions. It's almost looking like you're saying you're restricting the use of tennis courts and parking lots and driveways and sidewalks. I don't think that's the intent. The intent is any water use on those areas, isn't it?
Mr.
I think you need to clarify that paragraph.
The first clarification, does that track the state language? Yes, sir. So the state language may be confusing.
Well, then that wouldn't hurt us to clarify our own. That's all I wanted to make sure that these restrictions are only related to the quadrant in which the city supplies water to, and not where Fulton County supplies water.
This is a first reading. It's the second reading. So is Mr. Mooring, what's your response?
Well, the city requirements for the city water system are just for our service area, but Fulton County will have the same requirements because they're imposed by the state, and they also have a. Well,
this is the question: is do you believe there's some confusion in the language, or the language is not clear, as argued by Mr. Fleck?
I think that we can interpret it clearly. The section that you reference, section C. It just says that water conservation measures may include restrictions or prohibitions on non-essential uses, and then it goes to list those non-essential uses.
You may.
You may.
You may not be able to use any tennis courts. I don't think that's what your intent is. The wording is poor. The other thing is in the outdoor section where you're setting rules as far as what days during non-drought periods odd and even watering, that has nothing to do with Fulton County. People get their water from Fulton County, am I correct? You're making a rule saying that I get my water from Fulton County and I'm odd even, I can only water on certain days?
I don't know what Fulton County is doing, but I presume that they will comply with the state requirement. This is mandated by the state. We have not changed that one bit.
I find it hard to believe the state of Georgia has mandated when I can water during non-drought conditions. I think you really need to go back and do your homework.
Mr. Moore, have you done your homework?
I will be glad to go back and do whatever you like. But if you look on the Georgia EPD website, it dictates exactly what the requirements are, and then there are additional things for during drought periods, various drought contingency levels. We're tracking the state language.
Does the council, anyone else in the audience wish to comment? Any further discussion by council? Councilmember Wynn.
Mr. Martin, I think you answered my question. We are not adding any language. We're not embellishing any language. We are taking this straight from what state has now required us to do.
That's
and
correct.
It's just not the city of Roswell. It's anybody in the state of Georgia that has to adhere to this wording.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. The only thing that we have filled in blanks in terms of the title, the Director of Public Works and Environmental or something like that.
But
in terms of the
content-
language, that is dictated by Georgia EPD.
But the content of this this ordinance, amendment to the ordinance, is mandated by the state EPD.
That's
and
correct.
if we do not do it, we're going to have to explain why.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Diamond.
Just to clarify for the record, I think where the confusion on the restrictions is, it's not that you can't use sidewalks, tennis courts, whatever, the washing of those items. It's not just using them, it's the washing of any of those things.
Right.
So, okay. I think that's the word that was missing.
Mr. Fleck, you've had your opportunity to speak. I appreciate your thoughts, but you've had your opportunity to speak. Any further discussion by council? All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. That's unanimous. This time we'll have a report from our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on my agenda is the initiation of a settlement per order of the Superior Court Judge in reference to civil action file number 2010 CV 19250. City of Roswell cases number RZ 10-05, CV 10-01, and CU 10-03, 2925 Holcomb Bridge Road. The applicant and petitioner was Ramco Gershwin Incorporated, and the legal department would recommend initiating this rezoning, conditional use, and concurrent variance.
Do we have a motion to initiate the settlement? Councilmember Price.
So moved.
Motion to initiate the settlement as ordered by the Superior Court Judge of Fulton County. Do we have a second?
A reluctant second.
Reluctant second by Councilmember Wynn. Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Again, my name is Forrest Buchanan. I live at 225 Nesta Court, Roswell, Georgia. How much are they asking for?
You talking about money?
Yes.
Mr. Davidson, would you respond?
No monetary damages right now. Per the judge's order, it would appear that they might have been entitled to attorney's fees and other damages, but right now there is no damages.
Is this the order?
I can't see.
You'd have to,
right there.
if you'll bring it to Mr. Davidson, he can answer.
Where does it say in here that we have to settle with them?
It doesn't say we have to settle with them, but basically when you read the order, the judge has basically said they've proven their case, there's no issues of fact, and the city's going to lose.
No.
So therefore, yes, it does. If you look at it.
This is prepared and presented by a Richard Robbins, who is the plaintiff's attorney.
That's correct.
Now, I have a problem with this, is that if he wrote this and a judge signed it, it's very prejudicial to the city of Roswell.
It may be prejudicial to the city of Roswell, but it is the judge's order.
But he didn't write it, he just signed it.
The practice of judges is they will dictate an order and ask the attorney that is prevailing to draft up the order based upon the judge's dictation, and that has been the practice for the 30 years I've been practicing law. It may be inappropriate, but it is the practice, and we live with it.
Well, let me ask you this, then. If you're an attorney, then why would a judge decide an issue without hearing all of the facts in a trial?
I cannot explain the actions of all judges. That is up to the judge.
Well, he won't hear it. If you read the order, it says the court has advised the incoming judge, an Honorable Kelly A. Lee, of the terms of this order. So Westmoreland will not hear this case, correct?
I couldn't tell you who will hear this case because it could be reassigned, but our attorney has advised us that that even whether it was the judge who signed the order or the judge who it is assigned to, judges typically defer on matters like this.
Defer to a judge that has decided on its own? No, I mean, really, what is the theory?
You are arguing whether it's right or wrong. We're arguing what is.
All right. What is
the council does not disagree with your position. You are arguing that the judge was wrong in the decision, but that's no longer a matter for discussion. The judge made his decision.
What theory of law is he basing it on? Do we know that?
No, sir, not in particular, but it's that judge having made the decision and appeals on zoning matters being discretionary and seldom heard. It is my opinion and the opinion of our counsel that an appeal would not be successful. And if we oppose this, then we are very likely to not only lose the case, but to incur substantial attorney's fees and other potential damages.
Well, my idea would be to countersue them for our fees.
Sir, you are welcome to countersue them.
No, the city of Roswell.
Well, I would tell you that that case would be thrown out.
I think if we don't oppose this, I think you're opening the floodgates to every developer that comes in this room is defeated in a variance on real estate, and then he turns around and sues us. Then he's got precedent on his side that we've done it before. Why can't we do it for him?
It's precedent for once a judge makes a ruling, it's not productive to ignore the judge's ruling. It's not precedent for what that ruling may be before the judge makes the ruling.
So we're not going, but that judge will approve it, correct? Will approve the settlement.
Mr. Davidson, could you respond?
Basically, the judge, with his order, basically put us in a position where we determined as legal to advise counsel that it was in our best interest to settle this lawsuit. We do not want to incur attorney's fees if we're going to lose. Why fight the losing battle?
Well, I think if you look to the forward, I mean, what if Charlie Brown comes back? I don't know if the statute of limitations is run on his yet, but what if he comes back with all those dinners?
That's a totally different lawsuit.
I'd like you to at this point, I'd like you to ask all of your questions, and then we'll and have a seat, and then we'll try to answer those questions, because the continuing discussion does not. Let's see if you get all your questions on the table. This is not a debate. This is an opportunity to ask questions or state your opinion. I gather from your position that you are opposed to this, but if you'd like to tell us why you're opposed, you're entitled to do that. If you've got some questions, ask them. But let's get all the questions and the opinion out, and then you can have a seat.
Fine. The first question would be is if you approve this settlement, that to every developer that shows up here and gets defeated on his variance can turn around and ask us for his costs to present his argument.
Your next question. Any other questions?
I just think it's wrong. If you all want to open the floodgates and start sliding down this slippery slope, but as a taxpayer, I'm going to be very upset if that every time a developer loses, he starts hitting us with his costs.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's it.
Mr. Davis, if you've responded to the question.
As far as the cost, the attorney's fees and other costs, I've been here 10 years, and every lawsuit that ever has been filed against us, they've always asked for attorney's fees and their cost. So this is nothing new at all. And we defend every one of those lawsuits to the utmost. But when a judge tells you you're going to lose, sometimes it's better to go ahead and not incur those costs.
Would anyone else like to comment? Any further discussion? We've gotten a motion, we've got a second. Any further discussion by council? All in favor of the motion? That's unanimous.
I have one question for Mr. Davidson. This is still going to go through the DRB, right?
This will go through the full zoning process and DRB, yes.
Okay, thank you.
The
Councilmember Price has her hand up.
Just to clarify something that, did we incur legal fees outside of internal work?
No, ma'am, we did not.
So it was zero cost to the city so far?
Yes, no additional cost other than our salaries.
Right, thank you.
Next item is the election of Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have any nominations for Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Wynn.
I'd like to nominate Councilmember Rich DiPolito.
We have a nomination by Councilmember Wynn for Councilmember Rich DiPolito. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Orleans. Are there any other nominations? Floor is closed for nominations. Any discussion about the nomination of Councilmember DiPolito? All in favor of the motion, raise your hands. Mr. DiPolito, are you abstaining or voting?
You can vote for yourself.
You know, did you vote for yourself when you ran for council? You did. Well, you can vote for yourself tonight. That is unanimous for Councilmember DiPolito. I always vote for myself when I'm running. That's my practice. Mr. DiPolito, when does his term begin, Mr.
Right now.
Well,
tonight.
Well, as soon as I step down, you can step up here and hit the gavel. We need to consider a resolution to set qualifying fees for 2011 municipal election. Mr. Davidson, do you have that resolution?
I do. It's in the packet.
And what would those qualifying fees be?
For city council members, it will be $540, and for the municipal judge, it will be $2,730.
And how is that qualifying fee set?
That is 3% of the total gross salary of the office paid the preceding year prior to the election.
Is that figure established by state law?
Yes, it is.
So this would be simply complying with state law?
Yes, it is.
Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Wynn. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Diamond. All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously.
Point of personal privilege?
Yes.
I'd just like to back up to the previous item and thank Councilman Orleans for his service this past year as Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilmember Orleans. You did a great job covering for me. I always felt comfortable leaving town with Councilmember Orleans in running the city.
Does that mean you're not going anywhere this year?
I hope not. I hope to find many places to go and give Councilmember DiPolito many opportunities to sit in this chair. We have a recommendation for closure to discuss personnel. Do we have a motion for closure to discuss personnel? Do we have a motion for closure? Motion by Councilmember Diamond. Do we have a second? Second by Councilmember Price. All in favor of the motion, raise their hands. Passes unanimously. We're adjourned. You'll have to talk to the new incumbent. You know, I've got one from a Monopoly game, and I carried it for many years. But fortunately, I never had the occasion to use it. Never had to cash it in. So I don't know if Monopoly card will get you out of jail free. But I'm not aware of any of the City of Roswell issues. You know, the mayor's office does not have the authority to issue such cards. I know that. I know that's been a long tradition in some jurisdictions. Yes. Well, let's hope we have a good year. It's gotten off to a very slow start. This is that's the most snow I have seen in my lifetime. So that's a 60-year blizzard. I'm not talking anywhere else. I'm talking about Roswell. We have never had snow on the ground this long. We've had more snow, but it went away sooner. So we've had, this.
We actually we can appeal, and about 90%. We do it all the time. We are not afraid.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's a lot of snow. They get snow.
The judge, we had a pre-conference hearing, and the judge told him to put it on. And that's what they did. And they do that on all cases, pretty much. And they pretty much said, okay, well, Mr. Robbins, you violated the order. Notify the defense counsel. Make sure that they agree that that's what I said, and then y'all present it. So we looked at it, and that was pretty much what the judge said. And so we can't argue. They didn't ask me. That would have come in at the end. We would have gone to trial. We would have had to give a trial. When we go to trial, they could do all their preparation, do all their depositions, and talk to them. $500 an hour attorney doing depositions for 8 hours a day. And I don't know how many people he's going to call on. Well over 200,000 could have it. And that's if we went all the way through. I don't know. Could have been 50,000. Our cost or much lower than that. Because myself and